Yes, well, I think that we're talking about the European Network for Masters in Translation and Interpretation. You have universities that want to join up to this. You've got 5 universities with candidates. They have to be based either in the EU member states, they have to be candidate or potential candidate countries, or in the members of the EEA, or covers others covered by the neighbourhood policy, or as part of Erasmus+. If you look at the case of Switzerland, it does not fit into any of those categories, meaning that there is no legal basis for Swiss participation in those networks at the moment. What I would just like to say is the current cycle goes to the 30th of June 2024, and until that time the Swiss universities can continue to participate in the project. This will only be affecting them as of next year.
En 2014, lorsque la Suisse
In 2014, when Switzerland was excluded from Erasmus, the Swiss universities remained part of the network. How can you explain that? Well, there are 5-year circles, and when we called for candidates in 2018, there were still negotiations underway with Switzerland on the interinstitutional or the institutional framework. And at that time we had a transitional solution in place, but we know that the context has now changed. Switzerland broke off negotiations there unilaterally, and that means that there is no transitional solution at the moment. We've got to draw to a successful close these exchanges which have been underway for some time now. We need to get some sort of formal conclusion to all of this, and that we can start talking about a broader package of areas in which Switzerland can join up to the different European parliaments.
Bonjour, Balázs, juste alors, est-ce que...
Yes, good afternoon. Balázs, so can we consider this as an isolated case, or can we expect other Swiss universities to also be excluded from various programs or labels because they are no longer covered by any of the situations that you named earlier and there are no transitional measures in place? Well, I think what might change the situation is any progress made in exploratory talks that may allow us to embark in formal negotiations, and that would allow Switzerland to join some of the sectoral programs and to make advances in that direction. But of course, we rely on Swiss cooperation for that.
Pas très bien parce que...
Well, so from what I've understood, you saying the current problem we're facing is that no progress is being made, but if progress were made in the discussion, and then that raises the question of what would be deemed progress, well, in that case, Swiss universities could either rejoin or could avoid being excluded from various programs or labels.
Qu'est-ce qui représente un progrès?
Well, what can be deemed progress during these exploratory talks, you asked? Well, that would be a shared understanding of the key issues, the key priorities. There are 5, which we've mentioned several times, and once we establish that there is a shared understanding of these key points, we can move on to the next point, which is the next stage, which would be the opening of formal negotiations, and that would allow Switzerland to rejoin a program such as Horizon or Erasmus+, and that in turn would enable Swiss universities to be part of that program. Thank you, Balázs. Any other questions on this topic or other questions for Balázs?